Hello, welcome once again to the Go for Ball podcast. I'm Big Italy 42. He's Scott Mailwick at Sports 25 to Life, and talking about the recent hot hitters, cold hitters, the trends as we do. Try to help you gain an edge, see who's trending up, who's trending down. Obviously, box scores, things like that don't tell the whole story. People like to look at game logs, but that's not necessarily indicative of the actual performance of these guys. So we're going to go ahead and start off at catcher like we do. And as always, it's the Buster Posey show. Batting .332 on the season now, 16 homers and 76 RBIs. There's some guys that are close to him in home runs. No one really close to him in RBIs. Brian McCann at 69 is fairly close, which is impressive considering he's played 12 less games. But, Buster Posey is the guy you want. But right now, as far as strategy-wise, he's priced so highly that outside of the most elite matchups and when he's really away from home, it's really the only time you can afford to target him.
Yeah, definitely. It's been tough lately just because the Giants' offense around him hasn't been great, and he's just been so expensive, and they've been facing some pretty tough pitchers as of late. But he's far and away the best option. He's been incredible over the last month, hitting .398, only 2 home runs, which has been a little disappointing for his price, which has been the really tough thing with him, is he's not really giving you that huge reward any of these nights. He's getting 2 hits like all the time right now, but he just hasn't had a ton of power. Only a 125 ISO over the last 30 days. I actually sorted the 30 days because there's 2 other guys I want to mention that have been playing almost every day lately that aren't qualified yet. Kyle Schwarber is one of them for the Cubs, hitting .321 and in the last month, striking out 24% of the time, walking 13% of the time. The guy's seeing a ton of pitches right now. 7 home runs in the last 30 days, 20 runs, 20 RBI, 2 stolen bases even for a catcher. The guy's got a 192 WRC plus, which is 30 points higher than Buster Posey, who, as I mentioned, is hitting .398 over the same span. So, Schwarber's just been incredible.
Yeah, he's been ridiculous. And that whole Cubs offense right now, you got guys like Rizzo batting behind him. That whole team is just absolutely on fire right now. So, Schwarber's certainly one of those guys that you're paying upwards of Buster Posey price, but like you said, he's giving you the upside that Posey's not giving you right now. So that's what you're paying for right now. And he's been a really, really popular play, especially on these short slates. We've been seeing him a lot of day games recently, obviously being in Chicago. But, he's one of those guys that short 5-game slate early, you don't have him. Like, he hit 2 home runs, I believe it was 2 days ago. And you didn't have him that day, then too bad. Your odds of cashing anything were just not very good.
Yeah, definitely. A couple other guys that are qualified over the last month or so. Matt Wieters is hitting .293 with a couple home runs. Hasn't been anything special, but he's been killing lefties. So anytime he's facing a lefty in the lineup, and he's usually been in like the 5-hole, he's been a really good catcher play. Then Yan Gomes is the guy that we've been talking about a ton over the last couple weeks. He's catching basically every day for the Indians right now. He's 3rd in home runs over the last month at catcher with 4, 18 RBI. He's been hitting 4th and 5th for the Indians for the most part, 4th against lefties, 5th against righties. .273 batting average overall isn't great, but .354 WOBA and a 129 WRC plus. He's been rock solid and a guy that you can consider a catcher almost every night right now.
Yeah, and a guy that you want to consider because he was so good early in the season, but he's been terrible recently is Stephen Vogt. The guy, you're talking last 30 days, batting 149, has that 1 home run, but .095 ISO. Better not get ahead of myself there, but yeah, he's just been unplayable. So, all right, moving on to first base, and I like the theme there with the last 30 days, so we'll stick with that. And okay. First base also. It's been 2 guys head and shoulders above the rest. One's going to be no surprise. Joey Votto, .295 batting average. He's walking in 26.9% of his at bats in his last 30 days, which is just an absolute really ridiculous number.
He's got a 563 on-base percentage over the last month. It's crazy.
Yeah, astronomical numbers, but somehow still batting 1 point below Eric Hosmer, who's the guy that we always seem to talk about in GPPs. He's hitting lefties, he's hitting righties, 5 homers, 25 runs, 22 RBIs in the last 30 days, 245 ISO. He's been an absolutely incredible play recently. We shouldn't need to tell you about Paul Goldschmidt. He's been doing everything but hitting home runs over the last 30 days. His ISO at 143, certainly, I wouldn't say concerning, not something you like to pay premium price tag for, but he was under 4K for a while there on FanDuel, and he was just an instant play every night where even without the power, he was still producing.
Yeah, definitely. Another guy that we can talk about like that, Edwin Encarnacion. I mean, the guy's just been red hot lately. He's banged up again though, which is unfortunate. 333 batting average over the last 33 home runs. Um, I mean, he's one of the guys that can just get hot at any time. It's all about him being in the lineup right now, though. I mean, that Blue Jays lineup is ridiculous.
Yep.
So if he can get healthy back in the lineup, Justin Smoke's been playing well. Also, I'll mention him while we're talking about first baseman here. I mean, he's been fantastic too, playing almost every day as the DH right now, with Encarnacion out of the lineup, playing some first base also. Um, and then Chris Davis is a guy that, I mean, just continues to have a really, really strong season. 315 batting average, 12 home runs over the last 30 days. Still striking out 30% of the time, but honestly, he can strike out in every single at bat that he's not getting a hit for all I care.
Yep. No more draft streaks, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's just been awesome. 31 RBIs in 30 days, even stole a base this month. I mean, the guy's just been awesome. He's hitting second and third in the lineup pretty consistently, sometimes fourth. I mean, you can play him basically every day at this point. He's hitting lefties, he's hitting righties, he's hitting in pitchers' parks. He's just been an absolute stud.
Yep. And one guy that we'll mention, also another power guy, Mark Teixeira. I mean, he's gotten 8 home runs in the last 30 days as well. ISO of 341, which is no surprise. That's what he's been doing all year. And then similar to him, Lucas Duda has a 372 ISO and 9 home runs over the last 30 days. So
yeah, one thing with Teixeira and probably A-Rod, actually, considering he's DHing almost 100% of the time at this point, is the Yankees just called up that top prospect yesterday, Bird.
Yeah.
So you got to think they're going to spell Teixeira and A-Rod with him. I mean, there's no reason to call him up if they're not going to play him.
Good point.
So you got to think those guys are going to start getting days off towards the end of the season here as it starts to wind down. I mean, at the very least, they're each going to play 2 with 3 days. I would think that Teixeira and A-Rod still play quite a bit more. Maybe they try Bird in the outfield or something like that and give Beltran some days off. Maybe play A-Rod at third every once in a while, although I'm not even sure you can do that anymore. We'll have to see.
Put him back at short.
Yeah, there you go. That's where he needs to be. That's where he can really utilize all that 3 feet on each side range.
Yeah, like Derek Jeter last year. But yeah, either way, lots of guys at first base that have a ton of power. We say it all the time. You specifically say it all the time. You don't like paying down at first base, and these are the reasons why. These are the guys you want. You got to pay up for first base to have the kind of power these guys possess. Second base options. Once again, talking last 30 days, a guy who was overpriced for quite a while because of a really, really slow stretch of the season. Ian Kinsler really locked in right now, batting 387. 208 ISO, that's what he was lacking earlier in the year. His ISO was barely 100. 3 homers, 22 runs scored over the past month. Now, Miguel Cabrera likely to come back this weekend. So this is the guy that, now he's raking. Now he's going to be batting right ahead of Miguel Cabrera. So you got to think that his upside is going to take a big boon here now that one of the best bats in all of baseball is back.
Yeah, definitely. He's been hitting third. He probably moves back into the 2-hole and hits right in front of Cabrera, so you got to feel great about that. Robinson Cano has been red hot basically the entire last month. 330 batting average, 6 home runs, 21 RBI. Glad to see he's not doing as terribly as he was the first few months of the season. It's really helped all of the Mariners for the most part. DJ LeMahieu, I mean, the guy just consistently just gets on base. I mean, he's been incredible all season. He's been just as good, if not better, over the last month with the 348 batting average. He's not a big power guy, but he's stolen 7 bases in the last month. I mean, there's a lot to like there. He's been a pretty impressive player for somebody that, I mean, the Cubs wrote off at one point, and I mean, the Rockies weren't expecting a ton from him over the last couple of years, and he hasn't been great, but I mean, he's having a really, really nice season this year.
Yeah, surprised everybody by homering off of the chalk pitcher Noah Syndergaard the other day too.
Yeah.
So saw that and I was sure it was a mistake. I was seeing the game cast. I was like, wait, obviously they meant Carlos Gonzalez, but not the case. That was his 1 home run in the last 30 days. But I mean, good for him. Get it where it counts. And a couple other guys that are interesting. Cesar Hernandez has been a really interesting value play, more so on DraftKings than FanDuel, where he has the eligibility. You can play him at shortstop, but not a guy that has overwhelming numbers, but a 319 batting average, 15 runs scored, 5 stolen bases. He's a guy that's always pretty good. Never going to have that huge game for you, obviously with no power, but he's a guy that I've been loving playing for cheap. And then one of everyone's darlings at second base, but having a terrible month, Outside of the power numbers, I should say, Brian Dozier, 5 homers in the past month, but 31.1% strikeout rate, batting just 206. Tend to think he'll turn it around. Obviously, this is a guy with a ton of power and great numbers overall in the season, but just going through a cold spell right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's been tough with FanDuel moving Zobrist to the outfield and Dozier being terrible. I don't even want to play anybody at second base anymore.
Yeah.
I've been using Scooter Gennett a ton. He hasn't been great. 247 batting average, 281 WOBA, nothing special, but he's been relatively cheap and hitting at the top of the order for the Brewers. I don't know how long that'll last. They might end up moving Segura back up there with how much he's been struggling. There's one other guy I wanted to hit on here. Jonathan Schoop is a guy that I've been using quite a bit lately for the Orioles. 321 batting average, 3 home runs, 12 RBI for a second baseman, 363 WOBA, and a 132 WRC plus. He's been rock solid when he's been near the top of the lineup in Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's like you said, he's been either in the top or in the heart of that order now. When he was, months ago, he was just stuck in the 8-hole, and he was one of those guys that was hitting okay, but you really didn't want to play him. But definitely now they're realizing his value, so jump on board before his price gets too high. Your leading shortstop, and this is depending on where you look. FanDuel, he's jumped around from shortstop to third base eligibility. Has both on DraftKings. Jung Ho Kang over here, batting 352, 273 ISO, 5 homers, 16 runs, 11 RBIs for a Pirates offense that hasn't been particularly good. But, I mean, he's been probably the most consistent hitter there, so you really got to like him. And then a guy who this is one of those guys that's kind of in that range where he's almost overpriced because he doesn't have upside. Xander Bogaerts, he's batting 343 over the past month, but 0 home runs, .057 ISO, and a 0.9% walk rate. I mean, you like that he puts the ball in play, but I mean his upside is a couple doubles, and you hope that there's guys on base. So when he was sub 3K on both sites, he was almost an instant play for your cash game because he was cheap and he was batting third for Boston. But I mean, now that he's priced, almost $1,000 more, he's a tough play for me right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just makes it tough. Like, the most telling number is he's hitting 343 over the last month and has a 325 WOBA, where, and a 103 WRC plus. I mean, he's just not providing a ton with his good batting average. And, I mean, he's got a 414 batting average on balls in play over that span, so it's just not a great situation for him right now with the Red Sox struggling a bit. You mentioned Jung Ho Kang. Ian Desmond is another guy that's really similar to that. He's been stuck in a pretty weak lineup for the Nationals, but he's got a 372 WOBA on just a 261 batting average over the last 30 days. 7 home runs, 16 RBI, 4 stolen bases. He's striking out a lot, but for a shortstop with some power upside, I mean, he's been priced really well pretty consistently, and he's been producing incredibly in terms of being a cash game play and a GPP play over the last month or so. He's been probably the Nationals' best player outside of Bryce Harper, which I know isn't saying a lot, but at shortstop, it's been pretty helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you scroll all the way to the bottom, you look at Nick Ahmed, and you look up one spot, and there's Troy Tulowitzki batting 210 over the past month. 5 homers, 10 RBIs, 15 runs scored. Obviously, part of that time in the Toronto uniform. So he hasn't been particularly good, and he's priced like he's been good. Obviously, batting in that lineup, you're going to be expensive.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying he's not a guy that you play, but he's a tough play a lot of nights now because, much like some of these other guys, he just hasn't shown a whole lot of upside. Now he has those random big games, but hasn't, more often than not paying off that price tag though.
Yeah, right. That's the tough part there.
Absolutely. Third base options. His teammate Josh Donaldson has been paying off his price tag, but it's getting really expensive. I mean, he's near $6K on both sites now, but look at his last month. All he's done is have 10 home runs, 25 RBI, a 400 ISO, 295 batting average. So you feel bad about paying up for some hitters, but more often than not, when you click Josh Donaldson into your lineup, you just wonder how long it's going to take before he hits you a home run that night.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's how I feel, especially against lefties for the most part. I remember there was a time early in the season where I played him against a lefty 4 times in a row, and he had a home run in the first 3 innings 3 of the 4 times. And he's just he's been absolutely incredible. Having Tulowitzki in front of him instead of Reyes, I think, is going to help him in the long run also. Tulowitzki's just a better on-base guy than Reyes has been recently. A couple other third basemen have been really hot. Matt Carpenter, even though he struggled at the beginning of this time period over the last 30 days, is hitting 280 with a, 415 WOBA, 8 home runs, 17 RBI. Not a guy that's known for his power, really. He's only got a 269 batting average on balls in play, so you got to think that, he could be even better than this in terms of average for a guy that a lot of people thought would be a 315-plus hitter going into this season. You're probably not going to get that power out of him consistently, but the fact that he has that upside is nice for what his prices are at right now. He's going to jump back up there again if he stays hot, but, he was like a non-factor for a solid month straight there, and he's just been red hot ever since then.
Yeah. He's been one of those guys, and he was way too cheap. I saw him under $3K there for a couple of days on FanDuel. He was an instant play there, and he took that opportunity. It's almost like he knew his price was that low. He took that opportunity to hit homers, and I think it was 3 out of 5 games. So he had some monster performances in there. And then outside of that, you got a guy like Todd Frazier, really struggled after the break, 188 batting average, but over his past few games, starting to look like the Todd Frazier we saw in the first half. I don't know if it was fatigue, whatever it was, but one of those guys, and he right now, way underpriced, especially on FanDuel. So, he's got massive upside for his price. Really no one else that really stands out right now. You got Manny Machado, been solid, but only 9 RBIs. Obviously, batting at the top of that order, you're not going to have as many opportunities, but still batting 297, pretty much what he's been doing all season. All right, outfield options. You're looking at the past 30 days, your hottest hitters, and it should come as no surprise to anyone that David Peralta is number one, right? David Peralta, 413 batting average, 263 ISO, 3 homers, 21 RBIs. This is the guy that sometimes bats second, been batting cleanup a lot. And when you have Paul Goldschmidt, one of the best hitters in all of baseball, batting ahead of you, your chances of putting up big numbers are pretty good. He does have a 536 batting average of balls in play, so certainly there's a roughly 100% chance that number drops significantly next month. But he's a guy that's been absolutely mashing. 2 spots behind him, Nelson Cruz. He only has 13 home runs this month. But the crazy thing is that even though this Mariners offense has been better, he has 17 RBIs with 13
on 13 home runs. I know, it's incredible. And he has Cano hitting in front of him still. Yeah. The problem is the very top of their order, their 1-2 hitters have not been good.
Yep.
And Cano's been up and down. Cano's been hitting quite a few home runs and leaving no one on base for him too, is the other part that has made it a struggle. But his numbers are just incredible. 520 WOBA over the last 30 days, 440 on base percentage, 375 batting average on a 361 batting average on balls in play. He's been an absolute stud. And then another guy, really similar line, Carlos Gonzalez, 490 WOBA, 322 batting average, 13 home runs, 30. He has almost twice as many RBIs over the same span with the same amount of home runs as Nelson Cruz does. He has 30 over those 13 home runs in 24 games. So he's having a really nice month. He's really changed everybody's perspective on him. I thought a lot of people that he was getting close to done, and he's just looked absolutely superhuman over the last month.
Yeah, it was like Carlos Gonzalez started reading Twitter and all the people getting mad at him for being terrible, and he just decided to show it off. So, like you said, he's been absolutely tremendous. Another guy who's been incredible over the last month, leadoff hitter Gregory Polanco, still priced cheap like a guy who's struggling, but 320 batting average. He's got 3 homers, one of those off Clayton Kershaw, 17 runs scored. 196 ISO is the encouraging part with him because showing his upside. And then I've got to mention one of my favorite players in all of baseball, Lorenzo Cain. Just been tremendously consistent recently. 327 batting average, 257 ISO, 4 homers, 20 runs scored. This is another one of those guys. He's just been crushing all hands of pitchers. Better against lefties, but been solid against righties also.
Yeah, definitely. He's been great. The last guy I really wanted to mention, Adam Eaton for the White Sox, has finally looked like the top prospect that he was supposed to be. He's hitting 337 with a 420 WOBA over the last 30 days, 22 runs scored, 6 stolen bases, 3 home runs. He's been fantastic, walking 16% of the time, leaving his on-base percentage at 452. He's just having a great month. Hopefully that continues because he looks like he has a lot of talent.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple guys down here at the bottom that are interesting plays and guys you want to avoid. Jacoby Ellsbury over the past month does have 13 RBIs and 3 home runs. A lot of that came in one game. I think he had 5 RBIs and a home run in that game. Either way, a really big game, but batting 172 over the past month. One of those guys that He's been priced like it, though, especially on FanDuel, down around 3K. So if you can target him while his price is still low, we know he's much better than what he's been producing. Worst guy on the board, the occasional leadoff hitter for the Tigers, 155 batting average for Anthony Goes. We know he doesn't have any home run upside. He's got zero power. He's unplayable for me right now. Not a guy that I've been touching at all.
I mean, they've gone almost completely to Rajai Davis at the top of the order, even against righties at this point. I mean, Davis has just been outplaying him completely.
Yeah, it hasn't even been close. So one other guy who is an interesting play, despite his strikeout rate, which you don't ever assume is going to go down a whole lot, 35.3% strikeout rate, but Chris Davis, baby crush, 5 homers, 17 RBIs, 230 ISO, batting just 203. Obviously, this is a guy who's never going to be a 300 hitter. He's not a consistent average guy, but he's a guy that does have a ton of power, especially when he's at home at Miller Park and especially against lefties. So he's a guy I'm going to continue to target for some upside, but I can't imagine a scenario ever in the rest of my life where he'll be a cash game play.
Yeah, I can't either.
All right, that's going to wrap things up. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the weekend. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out all of our great content at dailyfantasycafe.com.